like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right. Yet to fail, nonetheless. It's frightening. Turns the legs to jelly. I ask you, to what end? Dread it? Run from it? Destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Or should I say, I am.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
It's your boy, V Business World, the People's Champ, back with another live stream, March 10th, 2024, here in the QC. We coming up to, 20 minutes to the hour in the QC here. I am the Shogun of Charlotte, the Heisenberg of this ish, the Cookie Monster. Y'all
This
know how
Sunday,
it go.
campaign
You
kickoff.
know how it go.
you don't like
It's
that
your
bill,
boy.
A combative
Check
President
on
Biden
in
makes
as you
his
come
case
in
for
the
a
door,
second.
people. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Send me $2 on the Cash App, y'all. I need to get a tea. It's the one and only, the People's Champ. I am simulcasting live on YouTube, even Israel, the People's Podcast. Also on Facebook, Van Johnson. Also on V Speaks on Facebook. Wherever you are, check on in, strap in, take your shoes off, get comfortable. Make sure you got some hydration, y'all. We'll talk a little ish today. We'll talk a little of that ish today. Listen, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. Move around. There are plenty of places to be out here in these social media streets. Shout out to Love Dorsey. Hadn't been giving her credit lately. Shout out to Love Dorsey. As always, number one moderator is in the house. She has checked in. She says, "Hey, y'all," with her signature. She says a lot of things already. Wait a minute. She says she needs another 3 drinks. Okay. Definitely hit the like button. And engage the host in chat. Real Bravado Network is in the house. I'm glad he's in the house. Stay tuned, sir. Stay tuned. I I hate discouragement, and because I know what it feels like. And y'all know I don't use that feel word very much, but I know what it's like to be discouraged. Um, and I empathize with my brothers out here, whether I agree with them 100% or not. And I'm always one to point out nobody agrees 100%. Most of us agree 70 to 80%. And I always say, let's not focus on the things that we disagree on. Let's focus on the things that we already agree on and build from there. That's always been my philosophy. And this is how I've been able to work with so many content creators that I had strong disagreements on. I tended to put those to the side and focus on them other 7 things we allegedly agree on. However, some things are automatic ejections. I'm sorry. I can't do liars. That's something I don't do. It's very offensive to me. I don't have a problem with you making a mistake. I don't have a problem with you being wrong. At least you're operating SOPs, standard operating procedure. Your standard is coming from a genuine place. But oftentimes I see the disingenuine. People have covert intentions, I'll say. You know, and I typically don't air ooh, I'm trying to watch my mouth, man. I typically try not to air a mug out right away, and I'll at least try to speak to you one on one with my grievance. Hey man, we in the back chat. Hey man, I support the whole show, and we in the back chat talking, or we on the phone talking. This is an issue I got, man. And then you keep doing that thing to me, and then I air you the fuck out. You brought that on yourself. You brought it on yourself. Wait a minute. Comments are still going. Um, let's see. RBN says what? I don't think that comment was for me. I think they were speaking to each other. Amanaz and RBN was talking. Yeah, they're going back and forth. And let's see. Okay, yeah. So I don't need to read any of that. They were having private conversations. Yeah, I'm not monologuing today. I'm kind of jumping right into my topic. So those of you who are here, you don't have to tiptoe in. Just go ahead and check on in and strap in. Let us know you're gonna be here, no matter where you are. I think most people so far are on YouTube. Facebook's numbers never really report unless I don't know. StreamYard and Facebook is funny. It's funny. Because I know I have viewers on Facebook because people will tell me, and I never see those on StreamYard typically unless they actually leave a comment. But anyway, um, and please do that sidebar, please, y'all, on Facebook. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come over here to YouTube, do the same thing. I get tired. I appreciate the views, but I don't ask for much. I don't ask for much. It's a very simple thing I ask y'all to do. It takes like 30 seconds to come over here to YouTube, hit the like button. And actually, if you watch it on YouTube, you can continue surfing and doing whatever else you was already doing and listen to the podcast at the same time. Facebook doesn't typically allow you to do that. Right. But your likes help the algorithm. So anyway, got into it with a content creator last night. I was just, I've given this creator a lot of help behind the scenes, a lot of support, whether he realizes it or not. Try to give him some big brother advice. Hey man, if you continue pissing off the brothers who are supporting you, you're going to be standing alone. And nothing or very little gets built by yourself. Hey, man, there's some things you speak about, you don't know what you're talking about. You need to do a little bit of research. You're opinionated, you are articulate, but you're not learned in various subject matters, and it's obvious you don't have the skill you're fronting that you have. And these conversations were private, behind the scenes. Now, the original mission of the channel was supposedly to bring black men and black women back together. However, I found that this content creator only wants to argue with women, with black women particularly. Because I don't often see him do it with white women, and he typically has a lot of white women on his channel as well. Won't argue with them. But with the sisters, it's always trying to create a gotcha moment, which tells me if you're one of these people who do this, you don't have experience with black women. How many times have I said, you will never win a public argument with a black woman? Never. If you got black women in your family, sisters, aunties, brothers, your mama, whoever, it's never happened. They're not going to concede. They're going to move the goalposts. They're going to answer other questions. We know all the tactics. Why play that game? And especially, you won't win if you make disingenuous arguments. Because the whole purpose of what he does is to create a gotcha moment. It's not to bring black women together and men together, as he said. It's solely, and I call this mama trauma. I think I got that term from I think I got it from Crimson, who I believe she got it from a sheep stay sleep. I can't remember. Somewhere along the way. Y'all know I like to try to give sources credit, but it's a great term. Mama trauma. You had trauma from the women in your family, particularly. You never resolved those issues, and you try to take that out on women online. But the issue that you have with the source of the trauma, it's never been resolved. So he's a perfect example of that. And I sometimes brothers aren't aware of what they're doing. They're not self-aware. And they think it's funny, they think it's entertaining, whatever. I don't know, people reinvent themselves online. Who am I to speak on this? I've been doing sales and marketing damn near all my life. Definitely all my adult life for various Fortune 500 companies. I've been the best of the best at every company I've worked for. Sprint PCS, Radio Shack, McDonald's, United Healthcare, McKesson Pharmaceuticals, Convergys, in partnership with General Motors and OnStar. And other companies I just don't even care to mention. It's a few of them. Always the best of the best. Being a sales professional, and at the level I did it, a career salesman, you have to have interpersonal skills. You have to be good at reading people. It's a skill. It's not an accident. My paycheck is based on my ability to read people. As a salesman, time is of the essence. It's only a certain amount of people I can talk to in a day. I don't have time to waste talking to people who are full of shit. It's a it's not an effective means of my time. To be an effective salesperson, you got to have qualified people in front of you to present to. I got to get through the unqualified people to get to the qualified. I'm reading them, I'm seeing things that the normal person doesn't see. Some of y'all just don't have the skill. It is what it is. You're a regular person. I get it. You're a civilian. I get it. Problem with this content creator, he doesn't have that skill. And those of us who do, with varying degrees, and it was more than me helping them. A few of us had these skills that were helping them behind the scenes. We're seeing things like, hey, this ain't gonna work, man. And it's like fight, tooth and nail to try to help somebody help themselves. And I've seen this a lot. You got to have a certain time on job to develop these skills that I'm talking about. Some of it is natural. Some of it you're born with. Natural charisma, natural articulation. But often it has to be developed, even if you have these natural abilities. And it takes a good 10 years on average to develop any skill to be proficient at it. That's why I would tell people, I don't consider you a career salesman until you've done it for at least 5 to 10 years. I'm sorry. Because it takes that long to develop a skill. Management skills, same thing. Takes a good 5, 10 years. And I think Amanaz always says this. She says, you do what you know. And that's true. Oftentimes, it's very true. So what'll happen is some you'll put a guy on the right path and he doesn't get immediate success. Because that's what black people we want immediate gratification. We want to eat the fruit the same day we plant the seed. We don't want to give ourselves time to grow and develop. We don't understand that change is constant, right? You have to develop your skills so that way, as opportunities present themselves, you can make course corrections. You may have originally thought, I'm going to do this thing a certain way, but as you go along, your original predictions weren't always what you thought they were, and you had to make slight course corrections. Kevin Samuels is a great example of that. He originally was battling the deacons, right? He wanted to be the best dressed deacon. Then he started talking to men. And then the women started reaching out to him. So he made course corrections. But we call him the Godfather because he was originally the Godfather of style. Right? Some of you don't go back that far. You don't remember when he was the Godfather of style with the red fur coat, with the red gaiters to match. You don't remember that down there in Texas. Amanaz says, wait a minute. I had to make sure she was talking to me and not RBN still. Amanaz says, and precaution for me is just hasty or nasty. Yeah, I know I can't hardly fucking see. And hold on, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Oh, here we go. It was his damn. I read that all wrong. Good God, it was his presentation for me. It's just nasty. Yeah, we spoke to him about that as well. Um, and I tried to give him time to take care of the presentation. Um, I mean, if you're going to be on camera displaying yourself, I mean, it looked like he was doing his live stream from Sanford and son, Fred Sanford's house or something, and it just never changed over a 3-year period. It was never any growth. But we even said to him, maybe don't show yourself as much, especially with the drinking. That was that was a big problem, you know. Um, I mean, we had these conversations with this guy privately. Hey, man, here's some things you can do to help, you know. But anyway, it's the lies that really sunk him. And he still was sad. He thinks nobody realizes he lies. It's sad. Like, dude, the same thing he does. So, the same thing he does to other people, he doesn't hold himself to the same accountability. So I'm listening last night, just killing some time because I try to support. I know everybody needs their watch hours. So that's kind of what I was doing, just hanging out in the chat. A young lady was speaking, Lola or something. I'm not familiar with her. I never really heard her speak before. So but anyway, obviously something had happened the night before between them two, and it was supposedly they were sorting the beef out. I really didn't see the beef. And based on what the girl was saying, she really didn't see the beef either. Um, this is another reason you need time on job, so you could mature. You can actually mature. Some people think information and wisdom is the same thing, and it's not. And then these are the guys who come in the manosphere. They learn a couple of talking points, and they're just itching to use those talking points against a woman to get that gotcha moment and that one up on her. That's what they live for. It's not to educate, edify, uplift, or bring couples together. It's not their, they claim it's that reason. So he's trying to get this young lady to admit she lied the night before. And he's playing a recording of the stream because that's what he loves to do, play clips over and over and over again. We like, dude, we heard it the first 6 times you played the shit. We still don't agree with you. No, y'all need to hear it again. No, we heard it. It's not us that's missing anything. It's you. Because a lot of men have a need to be right. Like Kevin Samuel said that about women. But as TJ just pointed out, right? He just said this today on his premiere. It's funny. That's why I kind of told him to hang around. Um, but they accuse the women of doing, these men are doing themselves. Why? What did TJ say today? Because now I disagree with his time frame on generations. I've said that before. He was correct on his analysis. Gen X is the first generation to have no fathers in the house. The previous generation screwed it up, which were the baby boomers. TJ tends to mix the the tail end or the beginning of the millennials with the tail end of Gen X, and is and it's off, and it's off. Um, but Gen X is actually what he was describing. So now you got these millennials who are sassy and zesty and unmanly out here because their only influence or their primary influence growing up was their mamas, their aunties, their sisters, the gynocracy, the hyenas. Shout out to Crimson Cure. Right? That's the millennials. The millennials typically go from what? 81, 82 to about what is it? 99 or something like that. Somewhere in there, you can Google it and look it up. I mean, somewhere in there. But they're the millennials. The Zoomers are typically 26 years old and under. Right now, they're like 26 to 18 or something. And then under that is going to be the alphas. So the baby boomers are mostly the parents of the millennials. Now you do have some older Gen Xers, the old Gen Xers who are like right on the tail end of the baby boomers who parented some of those millennials as well. But the bulk of the millennials, their parents would have been boomers. We have to understand that the boomers were a huge generation. So they parented really two generations. They parented Gen X as well. And they parented the millennials. Sometimes the same parents. Like I know my parents. I'm a Gen X. I'm 76. But they also have two children who were born in into millennials. They came along later. Same parents. it it was like they didn't have kids back to back. They had me, 15 years went by, and then they had more. They decided to have kids again. That's normally not common, but because they was such a large generation covering a lot of decade, everybody wants to try to make it seem like, oh, your generation is 20 years. That's not true. It's not true. The baby boomers proved that wrong. And now the millennials are proving that wrong. The millennials are going to be a huge generation. Whereas Gen X is a small generation compared to the two that bookend us. Okay? Again, people talk about these things and they don't know what they're talking about. They've never done any research on generations and demographics. So they just talk. And it runs into confusion. Know what you're talking about. But he was right. Hit it right on the head. And this dude said it even last night. Oh, y'all old niggas fucked it up. He was referring to Gen X. No, we inherited the mess. Yo, daddy and mama fucked it up. Put the blame where it goes. But he's trying to make this girl out to be a liar. We finally get to the clip or the point. I mean, I guess an hour later, we finally get to the part where he was talking about. I listened to it. And she said, or he accused her of having 5 kids. And she sarcastically said, add 10 more to it. She was being a smartass. She was being sarcastic. She was being facetious. No way was she being serious when she was saying what she was saying. In other words, no, I got 15 kids, not 5. She never actually said how many kids she had, at least not on last night's stream. And what I heard last night, and I heard a lot of the recording from the night before, didn't hear it. But he was trying to create a gotcha moment with her. So she's on there last night. And she's like, dude, are you really 34 years old? Like, you're immature. Like, are you really this dumb? That was her attitude. Now, she made a good point. I was in the chat, and she made a point about the manosphere. You know, how some of these dudes are just, when you bring up certain things, they like to use certain phrases to try to trigger women. And one of the things they do is they say, oh, y'all emotional. She was absolutely right. I said, what that is that's blue pill tropes. It's not red pill, as a lot of you give credit to. Y'all just claim everything on red pill when it's not. It's actually blue pill. It has nothing to do with the red pill. So the people on the panel acknowledged me. He gets mad by that because he's emotional, and one of those emotions is jealousy. He hates when another man gets attention from women. My comment wasn't designed for that. But in his mind, subconsciously, because he's always trying to compete for attention from women. See, this is the blue pill emotionalism that she was speaking to. I agreed with her. So then he takes a shot at me from on the panel. Remember, I'm in the chat. And I said something, and another person in the chat said something. He called both of us out like, I'll air y'all out. Whoa. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Mucho gusto. I am V-Ben Israel. I'm the motherfucking champ. You ain't gonna air a goddamn thing out. See, I love these bitch ass niggas who play tough online. Had you said that to me in person, I'd have punched him in his goddamn face. I'm that dude. I'm used to being around real men. And we don't say little slick catty shit to each other, which I've warned him about before. And he's done it to other people, and other people have aired his ass out. Shout out to Out from the Norm. Shout out to Death Note. Right? real men, we don't take kindly to that bitch nigga shit. Which leads me further to believe you don't have experience that you claim you have. You're just on here talking with a bunch of theories and nothing has ever been put into practice. Right? Hold on a minute. I got a comment. I needed to pause anyway. Amanaz is she says Amanaz says my sister and I are 4 years apart and we both are Gen X. Exactly. Exactly. And Amberly is right in there with right at the tail end, right? What year was she born in? She's right at the tail end. And this is what I tried to explain to TJ one time. When we was having this discussion one time. I'm 76. I think he's 77. I'm not sure. He's right behind me. And he's like, no, I'm a millennial. I'm like, dude, no, you're not. You're Gen X. Well, I'm at the end. No, you're really not. The end is like 80, 82, 83 is the end. Uh-huh. Yeah. She's right there. I thought so. Yeah, because millennials started like 82, I think. I think millennials started 82. Yeah, I know. You're absolutely correct. He later admitted. I mean, not taking shots at him. I just pointed out the conversation. This disagreement ain't about me and TJ. It's about um the content creator who shall not be named. Okay, he not with us no more. We're not gonna name him anymore. Not giving his channel no more shout outs. If you know, you know. It ain't even important. So I say, yo, drop the link. You want to do tough guy shit? Drop the link. I'd be more than happy to come on up so you can air me out. Okay. So he eventually drops the link. I go up. I wait on the panel for about 30, 45 minutes before I said a word. I was just listening because he was still going back and forth with Lola. Finally, I get to speak and I clear up because he always misinterprets things. I'm like, what I said had nothing to go against you, and what she said wasn't going against you. She was speaking to a phenomenon that happens here on the manosphere. But you're too silly and goofy and shit went over your head and take everything as a personal attack. And it wasn't. What she said was correct. I'm not taking sides. But I'm saying on that particular point she made, I, she was absolutely correct. Why is it so hard for us to acknowledge that when the opposition is right? You can have an argument with somebody and they still be right on some things. Again, what did I say in the beginning? Most people only agree 70 to 80% of the time. There are going to be things that you disagree on. But the majority of this, we all agree on. Stop focusing. Again, we're 2 hours into this damn podcast talking about one disagreement that you misunderstood. It really wasn't a disagreement when we finally got down to what his beef was. Right? Unbelievable. So, yeah. So this is one of the reasons we can't get together, black men and black women. We focus on silly ass disagreements instead of focusing on the fucking 8 things that you agree on. You get hung up on the 2 or 3 things you don't agree on. And then, so we get to the point of the disagreement. Like I told y'all a minute ago, the she was being sarcastic, and he tried to make it seem like she lied. And well, ain't that a lie? No, it's not a lie, sir. She was being sarcastic. She didn't lie. She was being sarcastic. No, y'all don't understand. Let me play it again. Look, asshole, you can play this shit a goddamn 100 times. I heard what I heard. She was being sarcastic. People think they're smart and they don't have listening comprehension. They're not self aware. They don't have good listening comprehension. And they always think they're smarter than everybody else in the room. Then he goes further with me and says, well, he accused me of lying. I said, wait a minute. Y'all know I don't play that shit. I take my integrity very fucking serious. I said, dude, I got over 700 live streams. Please find the lie. Find me lying. I'll wait. I've been on your channel for 3 years. Find the lie. Then he says, oh, you always calling women bitches and hoes. See, now, let me peep y'all what he's doing. He's losing the attention of the women. It was 2 women on the channel who had never spoke to me before. So now they're like, wow, wait a minute. Who is this dude? And he's giving us some backup and clearing some things up. He's being the voice in the room. See, this is that, we always talk about alpha, beta. It's really not alpha beta, it's alpha delta. It's the delta who wants to be the alpha, but isn't. The beta is usually more like the lieutenant of the alpha. Not getting into that. But they're not the alpha, but they want to be. So they always feel threatened when the real alpha shows up. I'm not even into that shit. Because I don't consider myself an alpha. I'm more of a sigma. Right? But they get threatened. So now he wants to go on the offense against me and try to make me out to be a liar to discredit what I'm saying. He accused me of calling women bitches and hoes. And I do it all the time, according to him. So I asked the panel, because there was a few people on the panel who know me. And they've known me for a couple of years. Have you ever heard me say this? Both the people on the panel said, nah, I ain't never heard him say that. A man and a woman. I asked his chat, if you've ever heard me say this, put a 1 in the chat. Oh, I'm cussing. You be cussing them out. And you be calling them bitches and hoes. I said, Jay, I very rarely get into an argument with women. Very rarely. I usually have good conversations. Right. So I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, man? But the point is what he's doing. Instead of him admitting he was wrong in the whole premise of this show he's doing, you really don't have beef. You don't know what you're talking about.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Just don't know what you're talking about, bro. Then he goes to say, what did he say after that? The bitches and hoes and oh yeah, you always talking about back in my day. I've never used that expression back in my day. Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. That sounds like shit old baby boomers say. Back in my day, I don't talk like that. Back in my day would be the 90s. Now, I talk about the 90s and 80s, but I don't say back in my day. So if you're going to accuse me of saying something, you better get it fucking right. But see, he has a hatred for older men. Right? Because he don't have enough time on job, which I've aired this out before. He's trying to give relationship advice, and he's never been in a fucking relationship. Well, I was married. You were married for less than a year, and your wife died. You were still on your honeymoon. Well, I was in the military. Listen, your old Forrest Gump goofy ass, you was in the military for a hot minute before you got shot in the ass by your homeboy. You didn't get shot in combat. You got shot by your homeboy. Another goofy ass nigga. Let's be fucking real. But people try to make their experiences more than what they are. You have no relationship experience. You have no work experience. You got a bunch of theories. This dude didn't even know what the Louisiana Purchase was. I'm like, how are you from Alabama and you don't have no concept of what the Louisiana Purchase is, which explains all of those states down there to the left of you? Please, where did the other half of the country come from? How don't you know this? Oh, they didn't teach that in school. Yeah, they did. And I have a hard time to believe, yes, Alabama is one of the worst curriculums in the country. Yes, I still have a hard time explaining or believing they didn't teach the Louisiana Purchase. Because where did Texas come from? Arizona, California, Nevada, Montana, Wisconsin, North, South Dakota, Alaska. Where did all of those states come from without the Louisiana Purchase? Instead of admitting I'm wrong and I didn't know something, you're going to make up a lie. They didn't teach that to us in school. But you're an adult now. You never got curious of where the other states came from? Come on, dude. And it's those lies that chisels away at his credibility. And it's just always the lie. He lied on the stream that earlier tonight. I was in the chat when he did it. He didn't know I was there. I hadn't left a comment yet. I was just hanging out. So he tells the girls, they asking him where your girl at. Oh, she in the other room. Where have we heard that bullshit before? Oh, about a year ago, when he was on Mike TV. He went over to Mike TV, trying to play like he was Big Willie. And Mike called him out. Because he said something slick to Mike, like, you need to get on my level. I think he had like a viral video or something, or a short that went viral, a little bit viral. And Mike is known for exposing people. And Mike was like, all right, we're going to do this now. And it was Mike and his whole panel. They roasted the fuck out of him. They left. It's like they took a shit on his channel and lit it on fire and left it burning. Mike exposed him. He's like, oh, you've been buying subscribers. How can you have all of those subscribers and you don't have any views on your live streams? You're averaging less than 10 people on your live streams. I do 10 people, and I don't even do a scheduled live stream. Most of my live streams, go back and look at them, have more than 10 views. This dude is averaging 10. You got a panel full of people. So most of the people, your views are coming from the people that's participating on the panel. Mike is trying to tell him. Level set him, chin check him. Then they asked him the same question, where your girl at? He said the same fucking lie. This dude don't have no girl. Not one time in 3 years have I seen any evidence of him having a girl. Not once. It's the same lie. So I called him out on it. I said, no, you the liar. Where your girl, or what I lied about, where your girl at, Jada? He shut the fuck up. Because he knew I had him. But again, never admitting to the lie. The same thing he wants black women to do. You can't man up. I done caught you in 3 lies already. You haven't admitted to neither one of them. Unbelievable. Go show us her. Show us on camera. Call her in the room with you. Something. I don't want to hear that she sleep bullshit either. You lie. And I called at the point. I said, I remember you. I've been around. I've seen you tell this lie before. This ain't even a new lie. Unbelievable. This is unbelievable. You can't be disingenuous in a conversation and then at the same time try to hold somebody else accountable for lying or telling the truth. Ain't that the pot calling the kettle black?
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
You can't make this shit up. But you are going to be responsible for fixing relationships and giving advice. You lying ass piece of shit. And you got the nerve to point your finger at somebody else. The nerve. Like all your shit ain't recorded. Like we can't go back years worth and everything I'm saying could be pointed out. I welcome anybody to go on my channel, find me cussing some woman out, calling her a hoe in a bitch or whatever he said I was calling women in an argument. Okay. Find that for me. I don't remember that. Now, you talking about a specific time? He make it seem like, oh, you do this all the time. That's what he said. Now, was there one time somebody, I got in beef with somebody and they got sassy and I shut that shit down? That's possible. That's one time event. This ain't no, all the time. Like, I just regularly call women hoes and bitches. But if you acting like a bitch, I'm gonna tell you. But I don't typically call women hoes. I think it's the wrong word. Remember, I'm the words matter guy. I think the correct word is slut. Because it was also a question that got asked at some point the night before. Um, if a woman has 2 baby daddies and 15 kids, does that make her a hoe? No, it doesn't. Not at all. Not at all. She could have had a baby at an early age, in her teens. She was young and dumb, as we always say. And then later on, she got with another guy, was in a long-term relationship, and they had a bunch of kids. That doesn't make her a hoe. But when you have a narrow mindset, and again, you don't have any experience with women or relationships, you try to put things into one box. Y'all with me? Let me take a little break for a minute, man. Y'all still with me? Give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. Send me $2 for a tea if you still with me. Let me know y'all here rocking with me. I know I'm lengthy today. Let me know if y'all still with me. Everybody always talking about I support this person, I support that person. Who supports the people's champ besides Aminaz? And I come support everybody. I be in everybody's chat, dropping links, moderating, even when I don't have a wrench. Who supports me? I be giving people free advice, counseling. I be helping promote people's site. I remember Crimson Cure when she was below 20,000. Go on my Instagram page, scroll down. I made a video short and was pushing people to her channel and actually chastising the fellas for not supporting her actively. Now she's over 100K. I was sending her, me and her was texting back and forth for a while, where I was sending her a lot of topics that I thought she would do a good job with. She did. That was more relevant to her platform than mine. I do this for a lot of people. The behind the scenes. That's why there was a time I really wasn't even pushing my site. I was so busy helping other people in various ways. But send your boy $2. I'm not playing, y'all. I need $2. um, Shout out to Harmonize. I mean, she ran out of here. She had to, we all know her granddad has had some issues health wise, so she had to run a check on him today. Um, and she's still participating. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? I didn't expect to see her in this chat, but I thank her for being here. I thank her for being here. It takes time to develop skills. I told this story about this content creator because he hasn't developed. It's the same bullshit. You go back 3 years and look at his channel, no growth. Same exact shit. And I've given out that warning. I see, and it gets frustrating when you try to help these people. Because some people just won't grow. They just are what they are. And they want instant gratification. So that's why they result to the platform format because they know what do black people love? Arguments and fights and messy shit. Right? Now let me bring it back to RBN again. RBN said on his premiere today that Messy Michonne gave him some good advice. I agree with that advice. Stay away from the panels. They're cool to do every now and then. That's cool. But your whole show can't be based on panels. It doesn't work. I mean, it's the fresh and fit method. And the only way Fresh and Fit got it to work is they had a bunch of young, pretty girls, but all he was doing is saying the same shit over and over. So it was nothing really deep about it. That's how they made it work. Fight Club, again, fight, messy, ratchet shit. The Lapeef Network, again, but it got old. It gets old. Your more successful channels are usually the solo ones. He pointed out Angry Man, RBN rather, pointed out Angry Man. And I had a conversation with Angry Man a couple of years ago about this very thing because he was starting to get caught up in that panel shit heavy. At one point, I said, bruh, what are you doing, man? Me and him was talking one night. I say, because he gets frustrated by it. AM does. And I'm like, yo, you better off without it, man. Stop arguing with these clowns. And then he moved away from it. As soon as he moved away from it, his numbers started skyrocketing to where they are now. Right? Your more quality channels, we got to stop measuring things in total subscriber count or even views. We got to stop doing that. Particularly total subscriber count, because a lot of these people, they pay for subscribers, but then when they go live, the numbers don't add up. They ain't got no 1,000 people in their chat like they should. They might have 50, might have 100, you know. But if you got 20, 30,000 subscribers, why you only got a couple of hundred people in your chat? Where the rest of them at? You bought them subscribers. And then it topped off. We know the game. Those of us who've been around, we know the game. Crimson Cure stayed solo. Dennis Spurley, every now and then he'll do a panel, but for the most part, he's solo. Dr. Hassan Johnson, BGS, Green Gorilla, Coach Greg Adams. It's not easy what we do. I had said this to Harmonize last night because she was a little upset and concerned for her friend. And I told her, sometimes you get burnt out. It wears on you mentally. And as black men, we don't get credit. It's like we're taking on the world and there is no credit or very little credit. Very little. And sometimes you got to make a pivot because things didn't work out the way you originally planned. And you get frustrated by it. It's not what I planned to do. But I got to make a pivot. Sometimes you got to take a break. You just need to clear your head for a minute, you know. Um, that happens. I mean, that happens. And it definitely happens to, I think, well, I'm not going to say that. Yeah, I am going to say it. I think when you see a person as strength or having a strength and that person gets weak or has a moment of weakness, it affects you. I remember when my grandfather, before he died, like shortly before he died, my grandfather was like a brick. Never had been sick. You know, in my lifetime, I can't remember him being sick. And my grandfather drank a bottle of Bacardi every day and got up and went to work the next day like it was nothing. Never seen that man sick. So when I seen him sick, I I immediately broke down. We went to the hospice to see him, and I, I had to excuse myself and walk outside. I hadn't seen him in a while, and to see my grandfather in that weekend state that I had never seen him in before, it really fucked with me. It really fucked with me. But yeah, when you see another person as your strength, or you see another person as strength, you draw strength from them. You know, I remember recently, you know, when I couldn't breathe and I almost died. By luck, I went outside to try to get some fresh air. It took every piece of strength I had in my body to climb up 3 steps to make it to the doorbell. And when I rang that doorbell is strong. I don't know how many times I rang it. I was trying to wake Amanaz up. I had I was collapsing. I couldn't breathe. And finally she, you know, normally if, you know, especially that late at night, if the doorbell rings, I go to the door. So I know she was like, wait a minute, why VA ain't going to the door? So she finally woke up and I had turned all the lights on in the house. And so she followed the trail of lights, finally saw me slumped over. I don't think I've ever told this story. Found me slumped over on the steps. And she immediately was, what's wrong? You know? And some kind of way I communicated to her, I can't breathe. She called the ambulance. Um, I remember waking up in ICU the next day or whenever it was, a couple days later. I would have died if it wasn't for her. I would be dead. My kids came to the hospital and they saw me in ICU. They seen me in the hospital before, but they had never seen me in ICU. And I know my, you know, my kids was sad seeing me in that weakened state. They had never seen that before. They seen me sick, but they never seen me that weak. And it happened to be in ICU. And they got a little emotional, you know, seeing me in that state. So to RBN, I say, and it's you take this how you want to take it. As leaders, we have to keep going and we have to put our own struggles aside because there are people who are following who need you to keep going. They need you to keep going. They're drawing strength from you. He spoke about his purpose or something to that. Your purpose may be to inspire somebody else, to give somebody else that spark, that strength. That may be your purpose. It doesn't matter what you planned originally because change is constant. Change is constant. Doesn't matter what the original plan was. What is the plan right now? Somebody else might be behind you. Somebody you may not even be communicating with, but they're following in your steps or they're following in your example. And that person may turn out to be the next Kevin Samuels. You got to keep the fight for them. Amanah says he just got discharged. All praises to the Most High in Christ. Blessed. My grandfather's okay. He just got discharged, y'all. So we're gonna definitely try to be aware of what's going on with him. I know what it's like to be close to a grandparent. Again, I was raised by mine. So it hurt me when my grandparents died. It definitely hurt me when my grandfather got sick and then died. That hurt. Um, so yeah, I understand what she's going through and how that works. I'm sorry, y'all. So yeah, I hope RP and he was here earlier. I hope he did stick around or somebody gets that message I just dropped to him there. Um and I understand the frustration. Believe me, I understand. Believe me, I understand. This shit ain't easy. It ain't never gonna be easy. It's always gonna be frustrations. You always gonna want to give up. Gotta keep going. Um Men, we're gonna have disagreements. That's natural again. Nobody agrees 100%. Stop focusing on the one or two things we don't agree on. We got to pull together as men. Stop arguing with these women. It'll get you a couple of clicks, it'll draw some attention, but you will never build nothing that way. No society has ever been built with a group of women. I'm sorry. But a lot of y'all, you tell on yourselves because you're starving for female attention. And that's why y'all gravitate and always do this shit. And in those same men who do that, they end up having conflicts with other men all the time. And then they turn into Fight Club. And then you start clicking off. It turn into little clicks. And then your panels just turn into one big click. You're not even doing organic panels. a la Fresh and Fit, you're doing the same group of people over and over and over. And a lot of times these people don't have no expertise. They have opinions. They have conjecture, but they don't have no research, no citation, no expertise, no time on job. They just talking to me talking. Coincidentally, I was watching the lead posted shout out to the lead attorney. He posted a short with this. Him and AV was talking to this professional black black woman about Fanny, and she was team Fanny all day, and just listening to this woman who was supposed to be one of our best, another one, support Fanny. And why don't we give her some grace? She says. Well, I'll answer that question, because grace is time to repent. That's what grace is for. It's not time to keep sinning. That is not what grace is for. Also, grace is not for willful sin. She was committing adultery. They should have ran her ass out of that black church. There is no grace for adultery when you're willfully doing it. You can't willfully sin and then turn around and ask for grace. That's why they got rid of sacrificial law. God and Jesus got rid of that shit. Because that's what we were doing back then. We knew we were going to sin and had the sacrifice already lined up. And God was displeased with that. So Christ became the final sacrifice. And that's why we no longer do sacrifices. And now we have grace and mercy. But make no mistake, be not deceived. God says there is no mercy or grace for willful sinners, for willful sin. It'd be one thing if you didn't know how bad adultery was or that adultery was a sin. Now that you learned that, you can't do that. That's willful sin. There is no forgiveness. Be not deceived, God says. This ain't me telling you. God said it. But all y'all Bible thumpers, all y'all quote unquote Christians, can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. But listen, I think I done beat this one enough. I think I talked enough-ish. On your way out the door, y'all, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe and smash the bell. Share to your social medias. Send me $2 for a tea. Hit me up on the Cash App. Holla at your boy. This has been the People's Podcast, and I am your host, the Ben Israel, the People's Champ. Holla at your boy.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. So, What that make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide, how to lie. Me, I don't have that problem. Me, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy.